The Chicago Park District invites everyone to join us as our team shares their knowledge about a range of interesting topics. Our staff is dedicated to staying connected to our communities.
Hi everyone, how are you doing today? It's Miss Dionne. I was thinking that maybe it might be a good time for a story. So today's story is A Chair for My Mother by Vera B. Williams. My mother works as a waitress at the Blue Tile Diner. After school sometimes, I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job too. I wash the salts and the peppers and fill up the ketchups. One time, I peeled all of the onions for the onion soup. When I finish, Josephine says, "Good job, honey," and pays me. And every time, I put half the money into the jar. It takes a long time to fill up a jar this big. Every day, when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mama empties all of her change from her tips out of her purse for me to count. And then we push all the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired she falls asleep while I count the piles. Some days she has lots of tips, and some days she only has a little. And then she looks worried. But each evening, every shiny coin goes into the jar. We sit at the kitchen and we count the tips. Usually Grandma sits with us too. When we count, she likes to hum. Often she has money in her old leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain on some tomatoes or bananas or something she buys, she puts by the savings and they go into the jar. When we can't get a single coin, another single coin to go into the jar, we're going to take out the money and we're going to go and buy a chair. Yes, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, fat, soft armchair. We're going to get one covered in velvet with roses all on it, and we're going to get the very best chair in the whole world. That's because our old chairs burned up. There was a big fire at our other house, and all of our chairs burned. So did our sofa, and so did everything else. It wasn't such a long time ago. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals, and she had new pumps, and we were walking to our house from the bus. We were looking at everyone's tulips, and she was saying she liked the red tulips, and I said I liked the yellow ones. Then we came to our block. Right outside our house stood two big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. The orange flames came out of the roof. All the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My Uncle Sandy saw us and ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's Mother?" I yelled, "Where's my grandmother?" And my Aunt Ida waved and shouted, "She's here! She's here! She's okay! Don't worry!" Grandma was all right. Our cat was safe too, though it took a while to find her. But everything else in our house was spoiled. What was left of our house was turned to charcoal and ashes. We went to stay with my mother's sister, Aunt Ada, and Uncle Sandy. And then we were able to move into the apartment downstairs. We painted the walls yellow, the floors were all shiny, but the rooms were very empty. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought us pizza and cake and ice cream, and they brought us a lot of other things too. The family across the street brought us a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man that lived next door, he gave us a bed from when his children were little. My other grandpa he brought us his beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, she had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, she brought us pots and pans, silverware, and dishes. My cousin brought me one of her very own stuffed bears. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You all are the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very much. It's lucky we're young and we can start over again." That was last year. But we still have no sofa and no big chair. When Mama comes home, her feet hurt. "There's no good place for me to take a load off my feet," she says. When Grandma wants to sit down and hum and cut up potatoes, she has to get as comfortable as she can on a hard kitchen chair. So, this is how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find at the diner. And all of the coins start to go into the jar. Now the jar is too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter. He had to boost me up so I could put it in. After supper, Mama and Grandma and I stood in front of the jar. "Well, I never would have believed it, but I guess it's full," Mama said. My mother brought home little paper wrappers for the nickels and the dimes and the quarters. I counted them all up and we wrapped them all up. On my Mother's Day off, we took all the coins to the bank. The bank exchanged them for $10 bills. We took the bus downtown to shop for our chair. We shopped through 4 furniture stores. We tried out big chairs and small ones and high chairs and low chairs and soft chairs and harder ones. Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks in the 3 Bears trying out all of the chairs. Finally, we found the chair we were all dreaming of. And the money in the jar was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy, and they came right down in their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. We knew we couldn't wait for the delivery. I tried out our chair on the back of the truck. Mama wouldn't let me sit there while we drove, but they let me sit in it while we carried it up to the door. We sat the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Mama and Grandma and I all sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from her job. After supper, I sit with her and she can reach up and turn off the lights if I fall asleep in her lap. And that is the story of A Chair for My Mother by Vera B. Williams. Ida was the auntie. So what did you think? Would you like to go down shopping for a chair and go into the store like Grandma said? She said she felt like Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, trying out the big chairs and the soft chairs and the hard chairs, and I could see how that would feel. Well, I think that was a good story. We went for a shopping trip, got a nice new chair, and Mama and Grandma are happy. It's a good story. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're able to join us for the story, and see you next time. There's always room for one story.
These days, it's more important than ever to come together as a community, whether it's from our living rooms, kitchens, or backyards. Discover activities for all ages, as well as fun, interactive videos and important park information by following us across social media platforms and visiting us at chicagoparkdistrict.com.